This is day 3 of our focus on Moses' obstinate refusal to obey the Lord. You should send someone else. Moses clearly understood what the Lord wanted, yet he insisted that God choose someone else. So the anger of the Lord was kindled against Moses, and he said, "Is not Aaron the Levite your brother? I know that he can speak well, and look, he is also coming out to meet you. When he sees you, he will be glad in his heart. Now you shall speak to him and put the words in his mouth, and I will be with your mouth and with his mouth, and I will teach you what you shall do. So he shall be your spokesman to the people, and he himself shall be as a mouth for you." Exodus 4:14 through 16. Now, I'm sure Moses felt relieved that he would not have to do so much public speaking. He may also have been excited that he would be working with his older brother, Aaron. However, if Moses could have seen the future, he probably would not have protested and refused to obey the Lord. Little choices have big consequences. God had chosen Moses. Moses refused. God then added Aaron to the team. Moses likely felt like he had scored a victory, and it may well have been a blessing to be working with his brother. They had been separated for many years, and they were now back together. It was Old Home Week for the boys. However, Aaron would later cause some problems for Moses. Exodus chapter 32 records a time when Moses had been away for many days. The people were anxious, and Aaron conspired with them to build a golden calf and led the people to worship it. Moses came down from the mountain in a rage because of what the people had done. In Moses' absence, Aaron led them astray. Later, in Numbers chapter 12, Aaron and Miriam, their sister, spoke against Moses. Moses' refusal led to Aaron being included, which led to Aaron leading the people astray and later attacking Moses. Little choices have big consequences. Moses is certainly not alone. David made a small decision to stay home from the battle, which led to him seeing Bathsheba, which led to him to lust after her, which led to adultery, which led to putting her husband to death, which led to their baby dying. Bathsheba's grandpa also turned against David, siding with Absalom against David in the rebellion, and he ended up committing suicide. The stories are told in 2 Samuel chapters 11 through 17. Little choices have big consequences. Fortunately, small good choices can also have big good consequences. I've shared this story many times, but it fits here. Shortly before I went in the Marine Corps, I was working landscaping, and I came home exhausted. My parents were going over to dinner with some friends, and I would be left on my own to scrounge around for dinner. But they were going to have one of my favorite meals, so I quickly showered and tagged along with them. After dinner, the old folks, who are younger than I am now, were going to play a game, and I asked their daughter if she wanted to go miniature golfing. She said yes. So I asked her to marry me, a bit later, mind you, and she once again said yes. We've been happily married for more than 37 years, and it may well have started with just a small decision to enjoy a better meal than I would have had at home alone. The Apostle Paul made a decision to follow Christ in Acts 9, and thereby became the greatest missionary in history. The Holy Spirit also used him to write 13 books of the New Testament, to disciple great leaders like Timothy and Titus, and to impact lives today through the written word. Little choices have big consequences. Question number 1. Write down a decision you made that had unforeseen consequences. Looking back, would you have made a different decision if you had known the consequences? Question number 2. Write down a decision you will be making soon. Here's your action step. Write out a list of pros and cons for the decision you'll be making and try to imagine some of the possible consequences. Because there are consequences for your obedience and for your disobedience. Your little choices shape your destiny. Therefore, the key is to make wise decisions regardless of how big or small they seem at the time. And tomorrow we'll discuss some of the steps for making wise decisions. I hope you'll tune in then.